This is Audible Grown with Paul Brunell and Stephen Carroll, the pop culture podcast covering sports, movies, and everything in between. Enjoy the show.
On this week's special Bruins-themed episode of Audible Grown, we welcome Stephen's cousin, RJ, and they will be talking about Bruins hockey today. So I'm going to step to the side, and I hope you guys have a great time listening to episode 4 of Audible Grown. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to a special NHL edition of Audible Grown. I am Stephen with my special co-host for the episode, my cousin RJ.
Hello. Glad to be here.
What's going on, man?
I had a nice, pleasant ride over from Hyannis, flat seas.
Yeah.
Finally got to make it. No storm this time.
Third time's the charm.
Third time's the charm. Third time's the charm coming over Nantucket Sound.
So we are gonna go through the National Hockey League today.
Yep.
About a month through the NHL season so far.
Yeah, we got... Most teams have played at least a dozen games at this point, so
Yep.
you can start to get a good feel. It's probably better that we did it now instead of earlier. You can start to see what they're actually made of.
Much easier to talk about now that we got games under our belt.
Sample size, a little bigger.
Yeah.
A little bigger.
So I think we're gonna go division by division. So I think the logical place to start is the Atlantic Division.
Our division.
And I think we all know what team we're gonna start with.
Start at the top.
It's the team you and I both root for.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Boston Bruins.
Yep.
Pretty amazing start by them.
Yeah, it's the best start I've ever seen.
And not too bad for a year after losing Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about whether there was going to be a Stanley Cup hangover. And that's especially bittersweet for a team that didn't actually get the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those players took that to heart.
They got points in 10 straight games.
Well, up until last night.
Until a few nights ago.
Up until Montreal.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll get to that controversy at some point.
Yeah. Well, let's get it out of the way and just say that the 2 regulation losses that the Bruins have had, they've had goals called back.
I know.
Both games.
Multiple goals.
So they lost 4-2, if you remember, to Colorado, with
Yep.
2 goals called back. And then they were up 5-4 against Montreal, and that goal got called back, and they lost 5-4 in regulation.
In your opinion, was he offside?
I think he had possession. I think
it was tough to tell because the puck was in his feet.
I mean, as soon as I saw it, I knew they were calling it back. I saw it, and it was inconclusive, and they're in Montreal, and I said Toronto's calling it back.
If it takes that long, my headphones came on.
There you go.
If it takes that long to review the play, wouldn't you stick with the call on the ice?
Yeah, it's kind of... Well, it's sort of... I don't want to be the guy who says replay is ruining sports, but it's getting to be a lot, because that play went on for, 20, 30 seconds.
I've said it multiple times that replay is ruining sports.
I don't want to be that guy, because I also want them to get it right at 100% of the time, or as close as they can be. But I mean, it seems like it's been happening a lot.
But I feel like you gotta draw the line at some point.
Yeah. So to answer that initial question, I think Coyle had possession. I think he was kicking it forward with his foot,
Yeah.
almost a little Peter Forsberg kind of move, kicking the puck forward with his foot to his stick. And yes, he was across the line a millimeter before the puck, but he had it in his possession. So I feel like that goal should have counted.
That's the thing. He was offside by a millimeter. So pretty much the referees are, or the officials in Toronto are reviewing based off of a millimeter.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be, so they had to overturn a good goal on the ice called by the officials there and say, without a doubt, it was conclusive evidence.
And of course, right after that happened, Montreal got the goal.
Oh, yeah, they bury one.
And that's basically how the game ends.
Yeah. I think we're sounding a little sour grapes. And I don't want to sound sour grapes because they're, 11-2 and...
11-2 and 2?
Yeah, I think they're 11-2 and 2.
Yeah.
So, best start since I think 1929 for the Bruins.
Crazy.
So, pretty good start.
And David Pastrnak, 15 goals in 15 games or something like that.
30 points total. He's got 15 apples too. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. He's turned into probably the best bargain in the league, right? He's only on the payroll for 6.8 million, I think he signed for.
Something like that.
I mean, Marner got over 10.
I know.
And he's not putting up those kind of numbers. He's not scoring goals between his legs after he got his
Right.
first goal called back.
Right.
So the Bruins have been, that line, there's nothing else you could possibly say about that line.
I gotta mention that Pittsburgh game. I don't know how much of that game you watched.
Oh, all of
but
it.
That was one of the craziest hockey games I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I almost texted you. 3-goal lead.
I was thinking that too. I was,
3-goal lead. Here we go. And Pittsburgh, they're just too good to keep on the mat.
yep.
There's too much. I mean, Letang's still playing, Malkin, and of course Crosby.
Yeah.
Gensel's a sniper.
Yep.
So every time they come to town, it's gonna be a good game. Although I don't know that they're gonna. We'll get to them. We'll get to them.
And plus, I gotta mention Krug's goal from that impossible angle.
Yeah.
I don't know how that ends up in the net, but
You know what? My coaches and my coaches, and I think most coaches out there will tell you that if all else fails, just throw it on the net and hope for it to squeak by like that, or there's a rebound and one of your teammates gets it, or at least you get an offensive zone faceoff, right? He could have covered that puck up and you get the faceoff.
Yeah.
But Krug, by the way, going to be free agent after this season.
I did not know that. I wasn't.
And they're going to have to shell out. He's going to get paid this summer by someone. I hope it's Boston.
Me too. I like a guy.
Yeah. I mean, people have their complaints about him. He is a little undersized, and he's a little beneath the defensive goal line. He's a little bit of a liability on defense sometimes. But, I mean, that power play is number one in the league because of Torrey Krug.
Yeah.
Torrey Krug moves and makes that power play work.
The quarterback on the power play.
Yep, up at the point.
Yep.
So he's incredible, and he's really turned into that. I remember watching him in college, and he was just, his shots just have eyes.
I saw him in Providence a bunch when he was coming up.
Yep.
And one of those things, you watch him just play one game and you knew, this kid has something.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the perfection line is living up to its name, I think. They're just, I mean, the goal that Pasta had last night,
I know.
you know, Bergeron wins a faceoff back to Krug, I think it was, over to him, one time, roof, pass Carey
Yeah.
Price.
Yeah.
And they just do it against everyone. Every team they do that
Carey
to.
Price is no foul.
No, he's not. And, you know, they had some trouble with depth scoring last year, and I think Charlie Coyle has been one of their Sweeney's best moves.
Yeah,
Coyle is out there.
Definitely.
He grinds in the corners. He shoots. He's a good passer. He's a good penalty killer. He's been everything Boston's needed. He's from Massachusetts, so his grandmother sits on her couch with a bell. Every time he
Yeah.
scores, she rings a bell, which is adorable. And he's just been I'm so glad. I was a little concerned they weren't going to hang on to him. Of course, they couldn't afford Johansson.
Yep.
And I was a little concerned Coyle was going to go, but they kept him, and he's been massive for their secondary scoring.
And I have to mention one last player before we move on here. Guys, take it easy on Tuga. Please take it easy. 'Cause you're not gonna find many goalies better than him.
I mean, he had a tough night against Montreal, right?
Yeah.
Still leading the league in every goalie
I know,
category.
right?
His save percentage is like .949 right now. His goals against average is like 1.5. He's got, I think, 7 or 8 wins, which is good for first or second in the
A few
league.
shutouts.
Couple shutouts. He just got his 300th, right?
Yeah.
Which is most all time. By the way, Krug is at 299 points. So he's already the highest scoring U.S. born player in franchise history.
Wow.
And he's probably going to get his 300th in the next game or two on the power play.
I would not be surprised.
Chara had his 1500th game the other night.
The other night,
The man who did 32 pull-ups and is 6'9".
saying that it comes in Montreal.
Yeah. And, I mean, he got a standing ovation there
Surprising.
after they were calling the cops out.
Yeah.
After he put Patriotti's
Yeah.
melon into the stanchion that night.
Yeah.
So that was cool. This is the best Bruins team I've ever watched, and that includes 2011, because frankly, 2011, Tim Thomas was 2011.
Yeah.
Tim Thomas stood on his head and provided us a Stanley Cup.
And I thought last year's team was the best Bruin team I saw. That until I saw the way they're starting out this
Yeah.
year. But I don't know how they managed to get better, but they did.
And don't forget, Kevin Miller is still out.
Yeah.
Kevin Miller's not playing. Clifton got a goal the other night, a nice one, little dangle and roof on Carey Price.
They even called up Zach Setters.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was so happy to see, and he ended up playing so well
Yeah,
the other night.
I'm glad to see Bjork's back, and he's been great.
Yeah,
I'm a big Heinen fan. He's been playing well.
yeah,
I mean, you'd like to see him get a little more on the scoreboard, but I think the secondary scoring issues with Coyle there and Krejci being healthy is, I think that's sort of past. I think they can carry it when the Bergeron line's having trouble.
yeah.
Halak's been great too, by the way.
Oh, it helped to have maybe the best backup goalie in the league.
Other than maybe the Islanders have Grice,
Yeah,
but yeah, Halak's been awesome.
yeah, and Cassidy's been rotating the goalies.
Oh yeah,
For the most part, which I'm okay with as long as they're both performing.
yeah. I mean, I'm the biggest Tuukka cheerleader in the world, but I will say that he's not one of those goalies who can play 60.
You turned me into a Tuukka backer because there was a time I was like everyone else in the town. It
Yeah.
was like get rid of Tuca.
People are listening to the Sports Hub a little too much, and they like to rip on Tuca.
Guilty.
Yeah. They love to rip on Tuca.
Yeah.
It's easy. He makes a lot of money. He's a quiet guy, and he's sometimes got a slow glove.
He's the one I felt bad for after Game 7.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
come on, man.
You gotta love Binnington, though. Did you hear what Binnington said? Binnington said after that game to the teammates in the locker room, they're like, wow, you had he stopped 20 shots in that first period against the
Yeah.
Blues. He looks at somebody and goes, I wasn't about to drop $6,000 on tickets for my family and lose in Boston. So I kind of love Jordan Binnington, too.
Yeah. And Bennington was the backup in
Providence.
Providence
Yeah.
for a little while.
He didn't have a home. Nobody wanted him.
Yeah.
Look what happened.
Team regretting that now around me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So moving on.
Yeah, that's enough love for the home team.
Second place in our division, surprisingly, are the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah. I don't know about you. I've watched a couple of their games. I am still on the fence about them. They won 10 in a row last year. And Spit and Chicklets was making t-shirts about how they were all wagging, and then they fell off a cliff.
Through that, they made the t-shirt down the
Over on the mat, down.
Yep.
So I don't know how I feel about Buffalo. I think there's a lot of talent there. I mean, Eichel's obviously there, and he's maturing into a really great player.
Yeah.
But I gotta think right around Christmas we're gonna look at Buffalo and they're gonna be back down.
Yeah. And they say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
well, third place in our division, the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah. So I watch a lot more Toronto than I do of Buffalo,
Me too.
and I have some things to say about Toronto. So they still, other than Morgan Riley,
defense.
yeah, Kerfoot was a good pickup, but doesn't help on defense.
Yeah.
And that has been my issue with this team is that 50% of their total team salary is wrapped up in 3 forwards. Right. Tavares, Matthews, Marner, and now you can add Nylander to that list.
And you're not going to win without a good decor.
Yeah.
Because even if you have the best goalie, he can't stop everything.
And by the way, I love Freddie Anderson. He's an excellent goalie. But I don't even know. They didn't want to. Is it still Hutchinson?
I believe so.
So they don't invest in a backup goalie either.
No.
No offense to Mike Hutchinson, but they're not putting the money into
Right.
supporting Anderson, and Anderson's going to have to play 65 games this year.
And that's a tough ask for any goalie.
But specifically, so there's goalies who will do that, right? Carey Price,
Yeah.
not Tuukka. Carey Price, Pekka Rinne will do that. He's a workhorse. But not only is Freddie Anderson playing 60 to 65 games, but they give up more shots than anybody in the league. They give up 30 to 35 shots a night.
Because they don't believe in Toronto.
Yeah. So Toronto, as awesome as they are, and I gotta say Mitch Marner is one of my favorite
my
players in the
God.
league.
Yeah.
He is one of my buddies taunted me last year when they were playing the Bruins, and Marner was of course lighting the Bruins up in that first round. And he said, "Oh, you want me to get you a number 16 jersey?"
I remember you
Said yes.
telling me you're like, yes.
Yeah, I would love a Marner jersey.
And he was all thrown off.
Yeah, he was so confused. I was like, "Get a sign too. I'm gonna hang it up." He's incredible. He's an incredible playmaker.
I would want that jersey too.
He's better than half the defensemen they had last season. He backchecks on every play.
I know.
So I love Marner. I think he's worth every penny.
I don't know who's better, Matthews or Martin.
Marner. In my book, it's Marner.
Yeah.
Matthews is a sniper, and he's pretty decent at this face-off dot, but Mitch Marner to me
Yeah.
is just a water bug out there, as Jack would say.
So next team is the Florida Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Home to one of our favorite players,
Yes.
Keith Yandel.
Yans.
And
I love Keith Yandel.
we both do because of the Spain Trigwitz podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Mainly.
Yeah. So I'm expecting a lot out of Florida going forward. Maybe later this season, because they kind of had a tough start, but they picked up Joel Quenneville
Yeah,
as head coach, and they got Bobrovsky in net now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
That's where he went.
that's where he ended up going. So, and, they got Barkov up front.
Yeah.
They got a lot of talent up front, and they got Yandel, and I just am expecting that team to start to make the Atlantic tougher than it already is.
It's already super bad. And if Florida gets on a roll,
Yeah.
it's just gonna get tougher.
Yeah, if you told me after Christmas that Florida was neck and neck with Boston for first in the Atlantic, it wouldn't shock me at all.
Me either.
Yeah.
So, next team, the Montreal Canadiens.
Yep. Okay, so Montreal, I don't know how much you've watched of them other than the other night.
I think they're on the upswing.
Yeah.
I really do. They
Yeah.
got a lot of young talent.
And they're playing Claude Julien hockey where they're smothering guys. They smothered the Bruins in the neutral zone the other night, and they
Yeah.
do that to teams. They don't have great scoring other than Gallagher and Max Domi, so they're kind of, if they score 3 goals, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So that's sort of, but they're very young and they're always fast.
And they're super quick.
Yeah,
I was noticing it the other night.
yeah,
They're a very up and down team. Like if you turn the puck over against them and they get numbers down the ice,
yeah.
you're in trouble.
And they got their defensemen, like Victor Mete had 2 goals the other night. Their defensemen are jumping in on the play. They got their captain, Mr. Shea Weber, just loading up rockets from the back,
Yeah.
breaking people's bones with his slap shots. So I think, Claude, you're going to start to see Montreal be more successful.
So are they legit contenders in your mind?
This year, no.
Or is it gonna take another year?
Take
or
another
2?
year. Give them another year, see if they can pick up another, sniping winger kind of guy, and you'll see they'll start to be a problem again.
Yeah. So only a matter of time before we got to this team, Tampa Bay Lightning.
Took longer than you thought it would, huh? Going down the standings?
Yeah.
So, the big thing right now everyone's talking about is that Victor Hedman is out. He's hurt.
Okay.
And they're kind of lost.
Yeah.
And everyone joked that last year they didn't face any adversity and then ran into it and got swept out in the first round.
And that's 100% true, I think.
So maybe they're just getting their adversity out of the way right now. Maybe they're in the basement of the Atlantic, and there's so much talent on that team that I think either they turn it around this year or someone's getting the axe next at the end of the next.
Does it start with the coaches?
Well, they just
happened?
re-signed him to a big deal.
Okay.
But, I mean, with the kind of talent you have in that roster, people are expecting you to win. In the kind of regular season they had last year, they're expected to win right now.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. I mean, Hedman's a huge loss, and he's incredible. But we've seen teams handle injuries and be okay. So, that's sort of... I'm surprised. I really thought they'd be...
I looked at the standings today just to get an idea, and I'm like, where's Tampa? I thought they'd be right up there, and I'm shocked how far down they were.
Yeah,
It was surprising.
it's early. Don't forget about St. Louis last year.
Yep.
I'm not saying that's going to happen again, but don't count them out with that much star power on that team.
So moving on, the Iowa Senators.
Oh my goodness. So
Dumpster fire.
just a disaster.
Yeah.
Just a complete disaster.
Yeah.
They got one really good player in Pajot. I think Anderson's a good goalie, but they really just need to do a rebuild. And
Like a full
yeah,
rebuild.
just a dismantle.
Just blow the whole team up.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And it doesn't help that owner sort of has thrown that fan base under the bus and wanted to move out of Ottawa. And
true.
so, they're just a mess, and they really need to make some moves. They're worse than Edmonton.
And it's hard to believe, like, just a few years ago, what was it, 3 years ago? They were, one game away from playing in the Stanley Cup final?
Yep.
Hard to fathom that now.
Hey, that's how the pro sports leagues have so much parity.
Yeah.
And the NHL is no better example of that.
Yep. Probably the best example of
Yeah.
it.
So, Ottawa has some work to do.
So, last place in our division right now, the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah. Which I'm a little surprised about.
Yeah, but are they still kind of in the middle of a rebuild?
They are, but they have a lot more talent than, say, Ottawa does. Dylan
Yeah.
Larkin can really fly. They have Athanasiou. They have Jimmy Howard in goal. I'm a little surprised that they're still struggling to find their footing. But another team like Montreal that I expect in Florida to be very good soon.
Yeah, and like I said, and you mentioned it with St. Louis, it's not how you start.
Is that you finish?
Yeah, so,
Go on a crazy run.
yeah. So, moving on to the Metro Division.
Yeah.
And no surprise here, the Washington Capitals are on top in that division.
But barely.
Barely.
So not surprised the Capitals are up top because they have so much talent. You get Ovechkin, who at this point I'm comfortable saying is going to pass Gretzky
Yeah.
for goals.
I feel like it's only a matter of when,
He's-
not if.
He's just defying the laws of physics. He's mixing his tomato sauce with his Alfredo. He's drinking Pepsi on the bench, and he's scoring goals and crushing guys.
Yep.
Every time I watch Caps highlights, he crushes somebody, which is rare for a goal
The
scorer.
only sniper that can hit guys.
Oh, he's a Russian machine.
Yeah.
He's an animal. And they got Carlson on the back end. And you know who's in goal, our buddy Holtby.
Oh, home.
So that's a big team. That's a talented team. I could talk all day about the Capitals.
The Bruins kryptonite.
The Bruins kryptonite.
Brian Holtby.
Although the Cassidy era has started to get over that. Like, the Caps have won the majority of games, but they've barely won them. They've barely squeaked them out.
It's a fight.
Yeah.
But
So the shocking one is who's in second for me.
the New York Islanders. What?
So this is one of my favorite teams in the league because what else can you say about Barry Trotz
Right?
and Lou Lamoriello? They showed up. They said, we're going to play defense. We're going to smother teams and score one more goal than our opposition.
I guess that old sport cliche is true no matter what sport you talk about. Defense wins. We'll see if they result in championship.
Yeah.
But defense wins.
Yeah. And they're just smothering teams. They play perfect structure. They don't score a lot, but they score enough. And they got Varlamov and Grice sharing the load.
Yep.
And, I mean, in the NHL nowadays, you almost need that goalie tandem.
And what about Barry Trotz? A few years ago, he won the Stanley Cup with the Washington Capitals. The Capitals say we're moving on. He goes to New York and immediately starts to turn the Islanders around.
Yeah. And everybody last year kind of thought it was a fluky thing. And Islanders fans, as you know, can be a little obnoxious.
Yeah.
And they're building a new Coliseum for them so they can get out of the joke that is the Barclays Center
Yeah.
with their not centered scoreboard and that car that was in the
We
corner.
could do a whole podcast just on how bad the Barclays is.
Man. You know what? And I get that it's like a really nice facility, but not for hockey.
No.
Not for hockey.
And you want a facility with all that history.
Yeah. Yep. So that's what I have to say for that. Lou Lamoriello is pushing the right buttons, and Barry Trotz is on the bench, just coaching them to. I think they won 10 in a row.
Yeah.
I think they've won 10 in a row.
So next team is a surprise to me too. The Carolina Hurricanes.
Yep. So I can't figure out Peter Mrazek, their goalie.
I know.
Is he good? Is he good? Is he good or is he bad?
$1 million question.
Every time I watch him, I'm like, I could have stopped that. And then I'm like, oh, that was an Olympic-style save on the next one. I don't know. And a part of that inconsistency is allowing them probably not to pay him as much as the other top-tier goalies in the league.
Yeah.
But that inconsistency is going to kill them come playoff time.
I mean, the only reason they made it as far as they did in the playoffs last season is all the top teams went out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Until they ran into the last one, Boston.
Yeah.
And then Boston handled them.
yeah.
So, Mrazek, I can't figure out, but I love Stahl. I always have.
Yeah.
Always will. He's a great player. He's a horse out there. Complete.
Fun to watch.
Yeah.
Complete game.
And I know they do the little celebration after the game, and Don Cherry gets all mad about it. But whatever.
Grow with the time.
It's Raleigh. It's Raleigh. They're not exactly a hockey town, so you might as well entertain them, right?
Yeah.
And then, when they win, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not shocked.
And if you're winning, keep doing it. Like,
Yeah.
Working it. Working.
And they have some crazy. I mean, we could talk all night about Sebastian Aho
Oh.
and what a talent he is.
Yeah.
So they have some really good pieces. I don't think they're going to be able to go as deep in the playoffs as they did last year for the reason you just said, that they just didn't run into a powerhouse team until they met Boston.
Yeah.
But they're very good. They're a very good hockey team, and they're fun to watch, and I'm just going to continue to be puzzled by Peter Mrazek, I
know,
guess. I'm just going to
right?
be confused by Peter Mrazek.
So, only a matter of time before we talk Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah. Which is an aging but still insane core.
The window's closing though.
Yeah, for the Crosby, Malkin, Letang era. But man, you watch them play against Boston the other night was a good example of they're down 3-0.
They dominated that second period.
Yeah.
I'm like watching it saying, where did the Bruins go?
Yeah. And you know what, too? You're not going to win every game, and that was a perfect case of the Bruins. That's just a bad night. It's just an off night. And that's fine. But Penguins still could go deep, and I am not a fan of Crosby. I never really have been. I think he whines a lot to the refs, but man, is he good.
Oh, you can't dispute
He's
that.
unreal.
That talent.
He's unreal. Malkin too, and that organization seems to know how to put the pieces around those guys.
And for when he was there back in the day,
Yeah.
and then you go from Marc-Andre Fleury to Matt Murray. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
And Matt Murray's very good, and their backup is pretty good too, who we have seen in Providence a couple times.
Jarry.
Tristan Jarry made an appearance in relief of Matt Murray the other night, and he's pretty good too. So, to me, Pittsburgh is going to be hanging around. I don't think they're going to win the cup. I think the window is closing.
I think the thing that ultimately gonna hurt Pittsburgh is they were good, but at the same time, Washington was really good as well.
Yeah. Washington right now is deeper, and so frankly, if the playoffs started right now, I think the Islanders would beat
Yeah.
Pittsburgh too.
Yeah,
So
they beat them last year.
yeah, they did. In a sweep,
Yeah,
swept them out.
yeah.
I don't think that'll happen again. I don't think
No,
that was the only other time other than when Boston swept them out that I've seen Crosby and
Yeah.
company get swept out.
so on to New York, the New York Rangers. Actually, the Philadelphia Flyers. I got ahead of myself.
Yeah, you faked me out. You faked me out.
Sorry. But Philadelphia.
I love the Flyers. I love the Flyers.
I haven't seen them play.
They're fun to watch. Giroux and Couturier, they're so fun to watch. They got Goss to spare on defense. Another one, they call him Ghost.
Ghost.
And that team is young and it's quick and it flies around. They got JVR there, plays great hockey. And they still struggle to get goaltending. It's like a curse. It's a curse in Philly.
Yeah.
It's a curse.
Like any goalie that goes to Philly.
And right now, Carter Hart's been having a little trouble, kind of hot.
Yeah.
He's been having a little bit of trouble. This is his sophomore slump, I think. He's a great goalie. Hopefully he survives and breaks that curse. I don't know if anyone can, but he's so talented, he might be able to.
Somebody's gotta break that goalie curse eventually.
Yeah. Like Florida, though, Philly's one of those teams that I would put a futures bet on.
Yeah.
Just throw $20 on them to win the cup, and they could do it. They could have a remarkable run. They have that kind of talent.
Yeah.
So I like Philly. They're fun to watch. You never know if they're going to win or lose, but you know it's going to be entertaining.
Yeah.
And that's, as of someone who has no horse in that race,
And with-
great hockey to watch.
With that fan base, and then you add greed on top of it,
Yeah,
it's always interesting.
those animals down
Hey,
there in Philadelphia.
Now it's on to the New York Rangers.
Yes, the Rangers. Where do we begin with the Rangers?
Well, I would begin with that Bruins game, but that wouldn't be fair to the Rangers.
No. So, Lundqvist is still just an excellent goalie. He's still a top 10 goalie in this league.
Yeah.
And they're sort of building the team in front of him. His just like with Pittsburgh, his days are numbered. He's one of those players that you're like, how does he not have a championship?
And he's one of the goalies I'm like, man, he deserves a cup.
And he was, 2 wins away a couple years ago against LA?
Yeah.
So they get Lundqvist. I mean, Panarin went over there.
The bread man.
The bread man.
And the big apple.
The bread man. They're another team like Detroit that's sort of in a rebuild right now. And they have that the coach, David Quinn, who I watched at Boston University for a couple of years.
He's a good coach.
Well, he didn't really accomplish anything at BU. He had Eichel. They lost to Providence.
Yeah, right.
And then,
I watched that game.
yeah.
So,
And that was as close as he got to any crazy success. And then, for whatever reason, the Rangers decided to take him on for, I think, $5 million a year. So Quinn DeVee is kind of an enigma. I don't know how he's going to pan out as a coach, but we'll see. They're in a rebuild too.
Yeah. So on to a team that made the playoffs last year, the Columbus Blue Dragons.
So my favorite coach in the whole wide world,
John
Torts.
Tortorella.
John Tortorella. Did you hear what he said last week?
No.
They started off, I think they were 5-1, and then the media is asking him about it, and he goes, "Yeah, I thought we were supposed to suck this year." They proceeded to lose 4 in a row after he said that, which was incredible to me. Just classic John Tortorella material.
Wow.
Thought we were supposed to suck this year. Starts losing
So you do.
game after game.
Yeah.
So they're hovering around 500. They lost so many players, which is unfortunate.
I think we brought it up last year at the trade deadline. We saw them go all in.
Yeah.
And we were like, it's now or never.
And they swept out the best team in modern history
Yeah.
in the first round.
That was the most shocking.
Yeah. So they pulled off the best upset with that lineup. But you know what? Columbus, for whatever reason, is just not a popular city with these hockey players. So Panarin left, Bobrovsky left. No one seems to want to. They have a tough time getting free agents to go there. So they're going to start drafting well and developing inside their own system well
Yep.
to move forward. But Tortorella's a good coach. He's the most entertaining, in my opinion. And hopefully they can start to make some strides towards a rebuild.
Yeah. So bottom team in that division, the New Jersey Devils.
Okay, so I'm going to come right out and say that I put $20 on the Devils before the season started to win it all.
Okay.
They picked up some really great players in the offseason, including PK Subban, who's one of my favorites. Corey Schneider is still there. He's a great goalie. They have Taylor Hall, who's in the running for league MVP every year. They have Nico Hischier. They're
Yep.
a great team. They're just a little... They are a little directionless. They're almost adrift right now.
Yeah.
But that lineup is loaded, and they're who I put a futures bet on to win it all.
Good team to put a future bet on.
I mean, at this point, they're probably like the Blues. They're like 300-1, so
Hey,
I'll make some money.
if it happens again, you just made a ton of money.
So that's a team I like, but just another one that is going to need to do some more work. But they have the pieces, and now they just need to form like an identity.
Yeah.
And they haven't done that since Brodeur left, really.
I know. I'm trying to pull up the Western Conference, but I can't get it through.
Okay.
on.
Let me see. Here we go. Here is the West, and we'll start with the good old Central.
The Central Division and the defending champs are on top.
Which isn't really a surprise. I mean, to people who started watching later in the season, it looked like the Blues came out of nowhere. But they have a ton of talent on that team.
Yeah.
They have a ton of talent on that team. They don't have Tarasenko right now. He's
They
injured.
don't have light.
No. So they're without Tarasenko right now, which is tough. But the team's good. I mean, on the back end, you got Coburn, and you have Pietrangelo.
Yes.
They're just two towers of power back there. And they sort of run that team from the back end. And up front you have Steen, who's just a team player.
Yeah.
You got Ryan O'Reilly, who's an absolute monster.
God. Ryan O'Reilly.
I don't even know if he's lost a face-off yet.
I know.
They're 15 games in. I think he's won every one of his face-offs.
I would not be surprised.
So, and of course, they got Mr. Jordan Bennington
Bennington.
on the back end.
The ultimate diamond in the rough
Yeah.
on that one.
Yeah, he's a great goalie. Part of me kind of feels like, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how his longevity is, or if that was just sort of like a Tim Thomas-esque miracle
Yeah.
run he had. last year.
Yep.
The Do I Look Nervous run. We'll see
That was the best.
what absolute gem he had.
And he said it with a straight face,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. So we'll see. They have a ton of talent.
Moving on to the music scene, Nashville Predators.
Yeah, a team that I just can't figure out. I just can't. Every time I watch the Predators,
Like, they want to be good, but they can't get over that hump.
yeah, and again, a team that has some talent, and they just haven't gotten it done.
Yeah. I mean, they made the cup final, like, a few years ago, and unfortunately didn't get it done.
And they're in a brutal division too, which
I
doesn't
know.
help. It does not help.
I know.
So I don't have too much to say about Nashville.
And then the Colorado Avalanche.
Oh, the Avs. They have probably the second best line in the league
A very interesting team.
with Nathan McKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, and Mikko Rantanen. And they are without two of those three players right now.
Wow, really?
Rantanen and Landeskog are both injured. And Landeskog, the captain, I think, is long-term injury. I don't know how he got injured.
God.
I just saw it in the headlines that he's going to be out a while. So Nathan McKinnon is kind of carrying that team. But they got some good players. Tyson Barrie, I think, is still there. I don't get to watch a lot of the Avalanche games.
I don't either.
Tyson Barrie's still there. So, and I guess they're a fun team to watch. They score a lot of goals.
Yeah.
Every time you look at the scores, they get 4 or 5 goals. That might change now that that line's not together anymore.
Yeah.
But, again, tough division. I don't know that they'll have as good a run as they did when they dummied the Flames last season.
Oh, yeah, that was the...
Unless Landeskog and Rantanen come back.
Yeah. Hopefully those guys aren't out too long.
And you know what else? Another one to watch is that kid Cale Makar.
Oh, yeah.
He can move on the back end on that team.
Yeah.
So that they got some players over there, and they're fun to watch. I don't know that I'd put any money on them, but they're a good team.
And so let's move on to the Winnipeg Jets.
Yes. Paul Maurice, the Winnipeg Jets.
Yes.
So, obviously, I'm a huge Blake Wheeler fan.
Yeah.
They got
From his Bruin days.
still a little bitter that he went to the Thrashers, which eventually
Yeah.
became the Jets.
Yes.
And they have Little, is another good player on that team.
Yep.
They obviously have Mr. Sniper. You know who I'm thinking of.
Yep.
Who am I thinking of?
Patrick Laine.
Yeah. People are saying he's a little overpaid, and that might be true, but man, he can put it in the back of the net.
Yeah.
And they had Bufflin, but Bufflin's not playing this year. He's like doing a holdout thing right now. And the NHL.
Contract thing.
Yeah, I don't know. The NHLPA is getting involved, and it's getting a little messy.
Ah.
Hellebuck's a great goalie for that team. Love Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah.
So that's a talented team, but again, that's like the Atlantic, that division is a
Is
demolition derby of a division.
Hazy still?
Yeah? Wait, no.
in Winnipeg?
No, Hazy left. Where is he? Oh, man, I can't remember where he ended up, but he's not in Winnipeg anymore.
Okay.
Let me think about that.
So in the meantime, we'll move on to the Dallas Stars.
So that is another team that is super talented. And they just lost Klingberg, though,
Oh.
on the back end. So take that with a grain of salt. I mean, Ben Bishop in goal, he's like a rock. You got Sagan and Ben up front. You got Radulov, who's an absolute monster.
Yes.
So that team's good. And they just got, oh man, from the Sharks. Oh, who did they pick up this year? Pavelski.
Joe Pavel.
They picked up Joe Pavelski from the Sharks. So, what was I just going to look up? Oh, Kevin Hayes.
Yeah.
So, to me, the Stars, another team that's fun to watch, and they might go deep again.
I wouldn't be surprised. But, yeah, again, tough division.
Flyers. Hayes went to the Flyers.
He's in Philly.
Hazy went to the Flyers. Yep. I'm telling you, that's a fun team.
Yeah.
They got a fun team down there in the city of brotherly love or whatever they're calling themselves.
So this team, I know they're going through a rebuilding, but it makes me kind of sad to see them down this low. The Chicago Blackhawks.
Oh, yeah. And you know what's tough, too, is another team that those guys who won the Cups, Taves, Kane, Seabrook, the clock's ticking. Much like it is for a lot of the other core.
Kicking fast.
Yeah. I mean, Kane is unbelievable. He's still just Mr. Showtime, scoring all these goals. And unfortunately, the team around him is just not great right now.
Yeah.
So they'll be back, though. They have a good organization.
It's just tough as a hockey fan because you get so used to seeing the Blackhawks contend that they have a couple down years that you're like, with the Blackhawks, it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah. And, I mean, for me personally, I always want to see the original 6 teams in it competing. So I'm sure they won't be down for long, though.
Yeah.
The NHL rebuild time is like 2 years, which is different from other sports.
Quick.
Yeah. Which I think we were talking about earlier is how competitive and how much parity there is in that league.
And in the basement in that division is the Minnesota Wild.
Oh, man. What can you say about that team?
I don't even know where to start.
I mean, I'm glad we got Charlie Coyle.
Thanks for that.
Thanks. And we sent poor Donato over there.
Yeah.
But they just got a new GM, and it's a good hockey city. Minnesota, they love their hockey team.
They love their hockey team.
So, and they got like Matt Dumba there, who's a great player. Suter's still there, although he's another one who's getting older, but he still plays like 55 minutes out of 60 every night. So, I don't know. Minnesota forever has just not been very good.
I know. I just keep waiting for them to get over that hump, and then it doesn't seem to happen.
Another one like Columbus, where they just start drafting.
Yeah.
So on to, I believe, our final division, the Pacific Division. A good division. Good one, Ed.
Another really good division. And on top, we have the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
And can I just say, finally, the Oilers seem like they have a decent team.
Listen, though. It's not even Thanksgiving. I'm just gonna say it's not even Thanksgiving.
I know.
That huge caveat, but it's good to see McDavid. I love Draisaitl. Draisaitl is great. He is flying around. The German Gretzky. They're a fun team to watch. I mean, we'll see. I have to say that they let you down too. They're a team like Minnesota that historically has, in our lifetime, not been good.
So I shouldn't get too excited that the Oilers are good right now.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they should be leading the division.
Okay. Now this is a surprise. The Vancouver Canucks.
So I don't know how many of those games you've watched.
I haven't seen them play.
So, okay. So, Pettersson is incredible.
Yeah, he's still on that team, right?
Yeah, so Pettersson's fun to watch between the legs, lacrosse-style goals. Brock Besser, too. So, I think Vancouver is a good city, and they'll be moving up the ranks.
I'm surprised to see on my eye too.
Yeah, I mean, that division's kind of wide open. So, and they got all kinds of new players. So that doesn't surprise me too much. I think they have Thatcher Demko, who is a BC goalie, who's
Yeah.
incredible coming up through those ranks too. So keep an eye out for that.
The Arizona Coyotes.
The Yotes.
The Wagons.
The business Yotes. So they're, I don't know what to make of that team either. I think they're good. I think Ekman Larson is a great captain. I think that team is on its way up, and I think they'll make the playoffs. Filled with thrill, yeah. Filled with thrill. I think they'll, and Clayton Keller. I love Clayton Keller.
Yep.
I think they'll make playoffs this year. I just don't know that they're going to be much past the first round. But they're trending in the right direction.
Yeah. Vegas Golden Knights.
Fun team to watch. All they do is blow leads.
Yeah.
They just get a lead, score early, lose. So,
Yeah.
but this broken record on Fleury, and I'm so sick and tired of watching Riley Smith score goals that he never scored in Boston. But
Riley Smith.
you got Wild Bill over there. You got a great coach. So I like Vegas. I think they'll pull it together.
And another one of the teams we like to follow, the Calgary Flames.
Calgary, they get a lot of soul searching to do this season after what happened to them with Colorado last year. So I expect them to be higher in the standings and to be a playoff contender.
Yeah.
Johnny Hockey, Sean Monahan,
Can't go wrong with Johnny Hammond. too.
Johnny Hammercheese, Giordano, and you got Big Save Dave back there.
Yeah,
So,
they got a good core down there.
yeah.
So, the Anaheim Ducks. I almost said the Mighty Ducks, but it's the Ducks.
So that's another aging team that needs to start a rebuild. They still got Perry, they still have Getzlaf, but Gibson is a great goalie who needs some help.
Yes.
So that's all I really have to say about it.
Okay. The San Jose Sharks.
San Jose is a dumpster fire, complete dumpster fire.
Unfortunately.
They've lost their identity. I think DeBoer needs to go, and they need to find another direction. They have a ton of talent, and they're just in shambles.
Poor Jumbo Joe.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
And finally, the basement of the NHL, the LA Kings.
So, a team that doesn't really have any scoring. I love Kopitar. I love Quick. I love that team. But another team that has got some pieces to get and some moving to do. Drew Doughty is still good to go, but he's
Doughty.
middle of his career. So they have some work to do too, and they've been struggling. But like we said, there's a turnaround of 2 years maybe. You can do a complete rebuild if you're good at drafting and you're good at developing your talent.
Yeah.
So,
But things can change awfully quick.
oh yeah. So any of the teams we looked at that are in the basement right now could come ripping up through the standings.
We could do that again in February, and it could be like totally different.
I know, we should like screenshot the standings
Yeah.
and then see who's the biggest movers and shakers were.
We should try to do that again in February.
I'd love to come back for it, bud. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome, man. It's been fun. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. All right. I think that does it.
That's gonna do it for this episode of Audible Road. Hope you tune in next time. You can catch these episodes on YouTube. Also follow the Audible Grown Facebook page as well as the Instagram page, and we'll see you next time on Audible Grown.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and until next time, we hope you don't audibly groan.